In the midst of the fiery red night, billowing smoke and dust made the scene look like the apocalypse. At that moment, a black crow was pulling something from the creature lying beneath its feet. In the next second, a fresh, whole eyeball was plucked out. Without any hesitation or emotion, its orange beak simply snapped shut. It turned out the crow's food came from humans who had lost their vitality. In an atmosphere filled only with the sound of birds, someone's footsteps directly intruded. A drop of sweat rolled down his cheek. Minghwan couldn't help but stammer. What's happening to me? The word confused wasn't enough to describe his current state. All of this. Looking at the ruined city sinking in a sea of fire, Minghwan asked himself, did I do all this? I clearly didn't want it to be like this. Now, his whole body was trembling more than ever. Why did it turn out like this? But it didn't stop there. Sudden flashes of light flared up without warning, and that bizarre power harvested his head. Now, the shadow of Minghwan's head was deeply imprinted on the hard ground. However, it was all just a nightmare the moment his eyes snapped open. Sinking into the warm mattress, he let out a long sigh. Rubbing his neck, he muttered at a volume only he could hear. I had that nightmare again. Before Minghwan could ponder for long, a cold voice rang out. Restricted Class Esper, Subject Number 1002, G. Minghwan. Your guide is here to visit. Unsurprised, he calmly listened as the other party continued. Hurry up and get ready for your interrogation. Then, the door opened, and the guide's voice spoke up. You're awake. I hope you understand that when facing a potential threat, they always choose to eliminate it without hesitation. Standing behind a layer of glass, Han Imo casually bared his teeth and said, Not everyone here can be as tolerant of you as I am. And then he cut straight to the chase, offering a deal. Of course, if you can quickly understand just how dangerous your ability is and cooperate with our work, it'll save you a lot of trouble later. Finally, after a moment of silence, he spoke up. Ability. Minghwan's sharp gaze locked on Han Imo. You dragged me out of the orphanage and locked me in this dark place without seeing the sun. Then you keep telling me how dangerous my ability is. So tell me, what exactly is my ability? Why don't even I know? Facing his questioning, the man gave a vague answer. Our assessment cannot be wrong. You are in the most dangerous threat tier, capable of even destroying the world. Please trust us. Then, Han Imo decisively moved to the next topic. Right. Recently I looked into a few things at the orphanage where you used to live. Memories suddenly resurfaced with every word he spoke. Everyone said that when you were little, you loved locking yourself up and wrapping yourself in rolls of toilet paper. That's why all the kids at the orphanage called you a freak. Now, Minghwan just silently listened to Han Imo continue. I also heard from the caretakers that when you were at the orphanage, you liked sneaking into the computer room to play games, right? Pushing up the glasses on his nose, he asked to confirm. Are these things true? After listening to the man ramble, he asked bluntly, What do you want to know? Han Imo slowly continued. Naturally, that's exactly why I'm here today to talk to you. Closing the distance between them, Minghwan laid down his condition. Then let me out. Let me go, and I'll tell you. A slow silence enveloped them as the man pondered. Using his own logic, Han Imo launched into an explanation. Based on our tests, you are a reality warping Esper. You like playing games, so your ability will very likely manifest in a form related to games. His eyebrows furrowed at the words the man spouted, which means it will form a game interface to test and guide you, helping you understand how to use this ability. The lack of a real answer made anger boil over from Minghwan's mouth. Are you a pre-programmed robot? Do you only know how to talk like a machine every single time? Sighing, Han Imo showed no anger at that assessment. It seems you still don't fully grasp your current situation. Let's end our conversation here and take a little break. Then, a cryptic smile tugged at the corner of his lips as he spoke. Wait. Helplessness surged with every word that escaped Minghwan's throat. Of course I know my situation. I've been locked up here by you people for a whole month. Placing his hand on the glass, he asked the question that constantly haunted his mind. When will I finally be able to leave this place? Without bothering to turn his head, Han Imo slowly said, If you behave like a good boy and honestly cooperate with our work, then maybe. Before the door shut completely, his next sentence slipped through. Wait until you're an adult, then you can leave. His eyes flashing with a golden light, Minghuan directly deduced, "That means it's highly likely I'll never leave this lab." Or, clenching his fists and slamming them straight into the barrier in front of him. "By the time I'm qualified to leave, I'll just be a corpse with my eyes squeezed shut." Unexpectedly, an anomaly occurred as cracks began to appear. To his astonishment, a system's monotone voice rang out. "Welcome, our top player." By the time it finished speaking, the glass finally gave way and shattered. Staring blankly at what was happening, Minghuan hadn't even had time to react. Observing a space completely different from where he was, he questioned, "Where is this?" Recalling the things Han Mo had mentioned, Minghuan realized, "Wait a minute. The guide just said my ability would very likely appear in the form of a game right in front of me." Waves of energy continuously rippled beneath his feet. In other words, is this my ability? And before he had to wait too long, an orange system panel announced, "Infinite split game loaded." The space warped into square blocks under its notification. "Next, we will proceed to the character creation step." Amidst the starry sky, a shocking voice echoed. Then, in front of Minghuan was the character. System note: Esper, one of the 3 superhuman races. Every Esper possesses a unique ability. The manifestation of the ability is closely related to their growth process. Now he was truly stunned, and clearly, it wasn't stopping. Background introduction. You live in the capital of Dragon Nation. You are a high school student who grew up at Lijing High School. One night, you suddenly awakened your ability, gaining the power to create and manipulate black binding straps. From that day on, you gradually discovered that your family members, the people you've lived with for over 10 years, are all hiding secrets you know nothing about. But before Minghuan could recover, a beam of light exploded once again. In contrast to the black from a moment ago, this new character was white from head to toe. Anomaly Scribe, one of the 3 superhuman races, capable of obtaining anomaly fragments in secret realms around the world, and using the power of various fragments from the anomaly catalog to fight. Background introduction. You live in the capital of Denmark, and have always yearned to witness the wonders and interesting things from all over the world. You have a burning passion for extraordinary adventures. The guide didn't stop as the text continuously updated. One morning, you unexpectedly received an invitation from the Whale Garden, opening the door to a world of magical tales. Please choose one of the 2 identity registration options above. This character will become your first game character, debuting in an arena called the Real World. Not too surprised by this situation, Minghuan quickly accepted it. "I choose." And he placed his full trust in the character with high stats. Esper, Gu Wenyu. The system immediately executed its master's decision. You have selected character number 1, Esper Gu Wenyu. Please choose one of the following 3 character development paths. A. Hero. B. Villain. C. Neutral. Without spending too much time thinking, Minghuan decisively said, "C." The orange notification panel instantly changed its text. You have chosen the neutral character development path, generating a unique character development system. Please wait a moment. Your game character number 1, Gu Wenyu, is being generated in the real world, rationalizing his existence. While waiting, he unconsciously sank into thought. I was kidnapped from an orphanage in Lijing. If the Lijing in the game is the same as the Lijing in the real world. At this moment, only one thought occupied Minghuan's eyes. Then maybe I can use this character to investigate exactly which organization captured me and brought me here. Lines of evaluation flashed through his mind. Moreover, as a neutral character operating in both the light and the dark, it'll be much easier to gather highly important intelligence. The system spoke up, logging into Lijing, Dragon Nation. Commencing countdown to the final step. 3, 2. A sound whizzed by. A flash of light streaked across the pitch-black night. And then the orange light seemed to grow clearer as the rift gradually widened. By the time his eyes fully opened, Minghuan thought to himself, "Is this sunlight?" When he was truly awake, a lively voice from a loudspeaker pierced his ears. "Summer vacation is finally here. I've already decided where to go play." "Me too. I can't wait anymore. Long live summer." A drop of sweat rolled down his cheek as Minghuan couldn't help but mutter, "Where is this?" Then, an arm quickly pushed the glass door aside. Looking at the open scenery in his line of sight, he couldn't help but feel a bit dazed. The architecture under the sunlight rushed into his eyes, enough for him to realize. It's the outside world. As someone who had been imprisoned for a long time, Ming-Huan was truly shocked. I'm actually outside. Before his eyes was a beautiful sunset. Ming-Huan's voice, tinged with surprise, rang out. Sweating, he looked out the window. Really made it outside. Suddenly, someone's arm slung over his shoulder, startling Ming-Huan. Qing Ping looked over and smiled, asking, Gu Wenyu, want to come over to my house later? Right at this moment, the system warned, character Gu Wenyu's memories are about to be downloaded in massive quantities. A headache struck. He frowned and clutched his forehead. His action startled the boy, making him back away. The memories were still downloading. Blue streams of energy were gradually converging into Ming-Huan's bloodshot pupils. Qing Ping asked hesitantly, a bit worried, Gu Wenyu, are you okay? He didn't answer him, only letting out exhausted breaths. The system simultaneously announced, character memory download complete. Then Ming-Huan glanced over and smiled. I'm fine. Just woke up, so my head hurts a little. He grabbed his backpack straps while answering the previous question. I have things to do today. I'll come over to play when I'm free. It's summer vacation anyway. We have plenty of time. Qing Ping stared blankly at Ming-Huan's retreating back. Still confused, he hurriedly asked, Where are you going? He only saw him walking up the stairs step by step alone, surrounded by the laughter of teachers and a female classmate. The moment the door opened, Ming-Huan unhesitatingly threw his backpack onto the ground. With an inexplicable emotion, he rushed forward while telling himself in his head, I'm really outside. The air, the temperature, it's all real. It's not a dream. Ming-Huan sweated profusely, panting nonstop. A train of thought simultaneously appeared. Moreover, this is Li Jing. Next, he jumped onto the railing and wondered to himself, I actually relied on my own ability to return to Li Jing. Is this possession or creation? Did I directly insert someone into the flow of this world's history? Then Ming-Huan spoke up. The butterfly effect refers to the phenomenon where a small change can cause a massive chain reaction across the whole world. He clenched that power in his hand and smirked, marveling. But directly brainwashing this world like this is way too exaggerated. A drop of sweat fell. Ming-Huan looked forward and unconsciously laughed out loud. Then he stared at his palm with a somewhat expectant look. No wonder. If they found out about this, my real body would probably never be able to step out of that lab again. Next, Ming-Huan took a step forward. According to the retained memories, this body's ability seems to be. And then, without any hesitation, he threw himself off the rooftop. At the same time, a dark power radiated from Ming-Huan's right arm. Suddenly, he snapped his bloodshot eyes wide open. Countless streams of dark energy spread out from Ming-Huan's body. Black binding straps. Black energy streaks continuously spread all over his body. Showing no signs of surprise, Ming-Huan slowly raised his right arm. Instantly, that dark power tightly wrapped around his entire arm. Then Ming-Huan reached forward, and the energy shot out accordingly. The attack latched firmly onto the wall ahead, and his whole body launched straight towards it. A purple streak flashed through midair, startling everyone into looking up. A man held up his phone with a curious look. Did something just fly over our heads? The girl next to him flipped her hair and replied, I think I saw a UFO too. Another person spoke up. How is that possible? Are your eyes playing tricks on you? Meanwhile, Ming-Huan was flying through the air, laughing excitedly. This ability really isn't bad. Sweating, he thought in amusement. Even though this ability is called black binding straps, basically, isn't this just a combination of Spider-Man and Venom? Next, Ming-Huan landed powerfully on the rooftop of a building. The scene shifted to the Li Jing orphanage. A peaceful scenery appeared. He stood on a black mass and thought to himself, Li Jing orphanage. It really is here. I've jumped down from the attic of the orphanage countless times, looking at this city, imagining what the outside world looked like. But I never took a single step out of that place. Ming-Huan looked down with a pensive expression. He simply vanished. But those streams of dark energy still lingered in midair. In Li Jing, Gui, my old district. Ming-Huan stood on the ground, looking up. I'm here. This body's home. Home. This word is truly foreign to me. I have absolutely no experience living with a family. According to my memory, the structure of this family is quite simple. Father, mother, older brother, younger sister, and me. That is, Gu Wenyu. However, 5 years ago, a tragedy occurred. The mother, Su Qing, was mistakenly killed by Red Wing, an elite Esper organization directly under the UN. After multiple unsuccessful appeals regarding the case, Gu Zhua, the father, became increasingly depressed over time and hasn't returned home for 2 years. Ming Huan touched the doorknob and thought to himself, but that's fine too. If my dad isn't here, then I only have to worry about my older brother Gu Qie and younger sister Su Zimai. Suddenly, his eyes widened in surprise, as if he had just seen something. Ming Huan looked at the thing in front of him with curiosity. Wait, what is this? Then he gently touched it with his finger. An attribute panel immediately appeared before his eyes. Quest board. Available but unaccepted quests. Specific character development system. Skill tree system. Expand. Ming Huan was a bit surprised and asked himself, could this be the so-called system settings panel? After reading the text before his eyes, he exclaimed in surprise, quests. At the same time, the doorknob moved, as if someone was opening it from the inside. The wooden door opened, and an expectant voice rang out. Little brother, I've been waiting for you for so long. What are you spacing out for? His current quest was to find out Qing Ping's secret. Next was to discover the secret in his father Gu Zhua's desk. Then, investigate his sister Zimai's secret. Finally, find out the secret Xie was hiding. Xie, with a bloodstained knife in his hand, smiled and offered, hurry up and come in. Xie looked at Ming Huan in front of him and marveled, you're home early today. Ming Huan didn't reply, only letting out a sound of awe. Then he turned to leave, but didn't forget to look back. Dinner is ready. Hurry up and eat while it's hot. He didn't hear a word of that, because his mind was entirely focused on the bloodstained knife in Xie's hand. Sweating, Ming Huan doubtfully wondered, is this state of his really just him cooking? But when he saw a lavish feast laid out on the table, he stared in amazement and thought to himself, looks pretty delicious too. At the same time, he asked curiously, where's our sister? Didn't she come home with you? Ming Huan blew on the hot food while answering. She said at noon that she'd be staying at a classmate's house tonight, and told us not to worry. A train of thought simultaneously appeared in his head. At least, that's what Gu Wenyu remembers. As for what my sister Su Zimai is hiding, how would I know? Next, Chia walked up the stairs, but didn't forget to say, I'm a bit tired today, so I'm going back to my room to rest first. Take your time eating. He sat in front of a table full of food, looking up to reply. Right at this moment, the system screen appeared before his eyes, startling Ming Huan slightly. It announced that the character's skill tree system had been loaded. He didn't have any special reaction to the text, just quietly watching. The system gave him some skills, like being able to clearly see and hear sounds through a thermal insulator. Besides that, the binding strap could extend its maximum length from 8 to 15 meters. When the binding strap touched a person or a humanoid object, it would display all of that person's information. After reading it, Ming Huan brought his hand to his chin and thought, currently, for me, these skills are suited for scouting, tracking, and investigating secrets. Naturally, they fit me best. Suddenly, a news anchor's voice rang out on the TV. This is a short evening news bulletin. Not long ago, an Esper codenamed Blue Arc stopped a crime committed by individuals with supernatural abilities at the Hien V building in the city center. The culprit, identified by the police as the Giant Group, has now been taken to the Variant Association. Seeing this scene, Ming Huan coldly glanced over. A thought immediately popped up. Variant is another official name for the Esper organization. They usually work for the local Variant Association. And that guy on TV, codenamed Blue Arc, is naturally one of the variants in Li Jing. And then he curiously wondered in his head, in that case, could the organization that captured me and took me away for research be the Variant Association? Thinking of this, Ming Huan stood up. I can't delay. Right then, the system announced he had used the sensory binding strap skill. He closed his eyes tightly in concentration. The scenery in the house vanished. Ming Huan still stood there, muttering to himself. So that's how it is. It's this kind of feeling. I can clearly visualize the entire layout of the room in my mind. With just a thought, I can visualize the place I'm thinking of. The system immediately announced he had received an additional split point, skill point, and attribute point. After reading the explanation, he raised an eyebrow and thought to himself, split points can be used to create new characters. Which means, and then Minghuan asked himself in surprise, in the future, I can simultaneously control multiple game characters at once. Suddenly, a mechanical voice rang out. Blue Arc, there's a new mission. There's an Esper criminal at Lijing Square, codenamed Six Wings. Hearing this, Minghuan closed his eyes and thought, the sound of a walkie-talkie. It's coming from Guqiye's room. A door simultaneously appeared before his eyes. The image of the small room appeared. Inside, Qiye yelled irritably again. Then, sweating, he looked at his biceps stained with red streaks. Give me a break. I just fought an Esper criminal and got injured. Let me go home and rest. The person on the other end of the walkie-talkie warned sternly, you have too many enemies. It's Six Wings' demand. He's taken a group of hostages, specifically named you, and said if you're even 10 minutes late, he'll kill one of the hostages. Hearing this, Qiye angrily cursed, that bastard. Next, he helplessly touched the walkie-talkie. Tonight is just never-ending. Then Qiye stood up, surrounded by streams of blue energy. His entire body was gradually covered by a white suit of armor. Witnessing this scene, Minghuan chuckled and thought to himself, so you're the Blue Arc on the news. My older brother, Guqiye. The voice from the other side of the walkie-talkie continued. You'd better act fast, before they prepare to make a move on the first hostage. If any hostage dies in public, the spread of the video will severely damage our branch's image. After finishing his transformation, Qiye gently rubbed his wrist. I know. Then he announced sternly, you guys stall him first, and try to stop him from hurting the hostages. I'll be right there. Qiye, in his identity as Blue Arc, shot forward like an arrow. Seeing this, he sweated and marveled. So fast. Even injured, he still maintains this speed. No wonder he's the star of the city, Blue Arc. At the same time, the system announced Minghuan had completed the quest regarding Qiye, and the next step was to build a relationship with Blue Arc, then expand further within the variant association. After reading it, he complained in frustration. This quest, is it trying to force me into this mess? It really gives me a headache. The scene shifted to the city center, Lijing Square, at 22:20. A female reporter's voice rang out. Blue Arc still hasn't arrived. Six Wings is currently very impatient, and the hostages are in a terrible situation. Will our Blue Arc make it in time? An image of a person with a terrified face sobbing appeared. The sound of crying echoed in the silent space. Surrounding the two of them was a group of armed men standing guard. Six Wings, with an excited face, shouted provocatively, Blue Arc, how long are you going to hide? 10 seconds left, and we'll execute the first hostage. Then he started counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Six Wings' voice kept echoing in the silent space. 2. Before he could finish counting, Qiye appeared in his Blue Arc form. Seeing the newcomer, he spoke with amusement. Look who's here. Isn't this our Blue Arc? The crown prince of Lijing City, always the center of attention and loved by the citizens. Hearing this, he questioned disdainfully. Why spout empty words? What exactly do you want? Six Wings didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point. If you surrender and come with me right now, I'll let them go immediately. How about it? He pointed forward and declared boldly. Instead of obediently going with you, why don't I rescue them first and then arrest you? With an extremely confident expression on his face, the man casually pointed behind him. Because time bombs have been planted on them. Not to mention whether you can act before my men make a move and rescue the hostages before they open fire. Even if you could do that, my accomplices are hiding in the crowd with a bomb detonator. The moment they see you make a move, the first thing they'll do is detonate the bombs immediately, killing you and the hostages. And then Six Wings smirked smugly. So what do you plan to do? Kill me? It's just the death of some hostages. What does it matter to you? You've seen plenty of people die anyway, so a few more won't make a difference, right? At this moment, Qiye sweated and thought to himself, damn it. If I wasn't injured, I'm confident I could have removed the bomb from the hostage before Six Wings' accomplices detonated it. But tonight is different. I just went through a bloody battle, and my whole body is covered in wounds. Suddenly, one of the hostages mustered all her courage and screamed, "No, don't surrender to him, Blue Arc." Six Wings, looking annoyed, glanced back and shouted, "Shut up." Seeing his demeanor, the girl couldn't help but shiver in fear. Meanwhile, Six Wings hovered in midair and roared smugly, "Blue Arc, I've run out of patience. If you're still hesitating, then let my accomplices press the detonator and decide for you. Open fire." Seeing this, he hurriedly reached out to stop them. "Wait, don't." But the explosion didn't happen as expected. Six Wings immediately turned around and questioned, "What are you guys doing? Didn't you hear me?" The gun in one of his subordinates' hands dropped heavily to the ground. He was being choked by something and gritted his teeth, asking, "What is this?" Chia and the man both froze when they witnessed this scene. Before their eyes, all of Six Wings' subordinates were lifted high into the air by a dark power. Helpless cries rang out. The short-haired girl stared blankly at this scene. Minghuan, looking incredibly cool, hung upside down in midair. Then he glanced over and curled his lips into a smile. "My older brother Gu Chia is a hero. When he's in danger, Gu Minghuan appears to rescue him. Can he defeat the villain?" Six Wings, looking shocked and angry, roared, "Is this your guy? I remember telling you, if you make any rash moves, I'll immediately detonate the bombs on the hostages." Chia stood below and hesitantly denied, "No, he's not one of ours." The man didn't listen and threatened loudly, "I'll say it one more time. Tell this guy to get the hell out of here, or I'll detonate the bombs." He helplessly tried to explain, "I already told you, he's not one of ours." Six Wings immediately questioned, "Then who is he?" Right at this moment, the system stated that the character Gu Wenyu currently possessed a specialized development system called the Social Media Superstar System. The core principle of the Social Media Superstar System was that rewards could be obtained through the specialized development system whenever a cooperative relationship was established with outstanding individuals. Minghuan flipped the book in his hand and raised an eyebrow, thinking, "Socializing. This task is really difficult for me, but I still have to try to find out." The current development task was to establish a relationship with an Esper. The man hovered in midair and angrily declared, "I don't care who you are. Get the hell out of here right now. Otherwise, I'll detonate the bombs. Not just the hostages, but half of Li Jing Square will be leveled to the ground." He paid no attention to Six Wings' nonsense and focused on reading his book. A train of thought simultaneously appeared. The first step in socializing is to act as much like the other person as possible. Think and act the way they do to create a bond and close the distance between the two of you. Act according to the other person's way of thinking. I get it. Then he calmly reached his hand forward. "Calm down, Mr. Six Wings. But if you have the guts to detonate it, then go ahead." Next, Minghuan snapped the book shut with one hand. "But you wouldn't be stupid enough to do that, right?" He narrowed his eyes slightly and smiled smugly. "If the hostages die, you'll lose your bargaining chip in the standoff with us. When that happens, whose situation will be worse?" Seeing someone dare to threaten him, Six Wings gritted his teeth and spat, "You. I'm warning you, let my men go right now. Otherwise, I'll kill you." Minghuan, with a stern face, lowered his voice. "Let them go." At the same time, Minghuan thought to himself, the second step in socializing is to try your best to meet the other person's needs and please them. Then, glancing at the book, he snapped his fingers. "Fine, as you wish." The strap tightened even more around the neck of one of his subordinates. The black glasses shattered. The man screamed in agony. Witnessing this horrifying scene, Six Wings couldn't help but flinch. The subordinate disappeared, replaced by a black liquid dripping onto the ground. After doing all this, Minghuan casually said, "I let him go as you requested." That dark power continuously surged. With a cold face, he glared and asked, "Mr. Six Wings, why do you look so unhappy?" The headless subordinate slumped on the ground. The black liquid kept dripping and spreading. Seeing this scene, Chia couldn't hide his surprise. Six Wings glared, gritted his teeth, and cursed, "Motherfucker." Seeing the murderous aura radiating from the other party, Minghuan sweated and thought to himself, "Seems like something went wrong somewhere." Then he stared intently at the book in his hand again. "Forget it. Bad guys are hard to get along with. It's better if I switch to a righteous person to engage in social activities." Seeing Minghuan's wriggling things, the long-haired girl turned pale with fear. She couldn't help but let out a cry, tears welling up. On the cold ground lay the heads of 6 winged subordinates, creating an incredibly horrifying scene. Ming-Huan, with eyes full of murderous intent, smirked in amusement. They just pointed guns at the back of everyone's heads. Don't you all feel outraged? Now it's your turn. At the same time, a thought popped into his head. What goes around comes around. This is very fair. Now I look like a partner of justice, right? The long-haired girl was so scared that sweat poured down like a waterfall. Her hands unconsciously gripped the little girl tightly as she screamed loudly. Right then, the system warned that his acting was deviating. The character might fall into a state of madness. He was a neutral character, so it wanted him to take a more peaceful approach. Otherwise, he wouldn't win the trust of righteous characters. After reading it, Ming-Huan put his hands on his hips and thought, I didn't expect socializing to be this difficult. What should I do now? Should I just directly chop off these criminals' heads? Those straps were still tightly wrapped around the necks of 6 winged subordinates. He calmly remarked, like this, it looks like the robbers' heads are still attached to their bodies. Next, Ming-Huan brought his hand to his chin and smiled in satisfaction. Not bad. This is much better. Good as new. The nearby hostages couldn't hide their terrified expressions upon witnessing this horrifying scene. The system continued to warn that the acting deviation anchor point had increased. Seeing this, he felt so helpless he couldn't even utter a word. Then Ming-Huan approached the 2 girls and happily pointed at the subordinate hanging in midair behind him. Little friend, that was just a holographic projection effect earlier. Actually, their heads are still perfectly intact on their necks. If you don't believe me, look. Suddenly, the strap tightening around that guy's neck snapped. Instantly, his head fell off. A black liquid splattered onto the little girl's face. Witnessing this scene, the little girl stared wide-eyed. Tears were already on the verge of falling. And then she screamed in terror. The system warned again that the acting deviation had increased. Ming-Huan, looking exhausted, pursed his lips and sighed. Newcomers to society often experience failure. Ming-Huan forced a smile to appear friendly and tried to explain. Actually, it was completely accidental. Purely accidental. In his mind, he was secretly complaining. Socializing is truly a headache. He raised a hand, intending to try again. This time for sure. But he was immediately grabbed tightly by Chia, who questioned, Enough. Who exactly are you? Hearing this, Ming-Huan calmly replied as if pre-programmed, I'm just a neutral character. I don't want to be a hero, nor a villain. Strictly speaking, I don't want to be defined by others, regardless of how it is. In a split second, he escaped Chia's grasp. His voice rang out leisurely. Just trust me, Blue Arc. We'll become very good friends in the future. He didn't waver, bluntly accusing the other party. You eliminated those robbers. Ming-Huan immediately flipped the issue. Would you only be happy if the hostages died? Chia still firmly stood his ground. Harming people is harming people, and you have to answer to the law. Ming-Huan didn't think so. How silly. I believe that's not what you really think. You're only saying that because of the pressure from the cameras. He gathered magic power in his palm and suggested, Then let's talk in private, Blue Arc. Ming-Huan condensed the energy into a small bullet-like sphere and aimed it straight ahead. Tell me your true thoughts. He aimed precisely at Chia and fired. Quick as a flash, he spun around and reached out to control that power. Ming-Huan retreated until his heels touched the edge of the cliff. Then, Mr. Blue Arc, are you willing to meet? He relaxed his body, leaning back. The corners of his lips curled up in the moment he hovered in the vast space. That's up to you. And then Ming-Huan disappeared, fading into the lingering traces of magic. Chia stood silently, watching the wriggling thing he had handed over. It curled up and sprouted an arrow pointing the way. 6 wings, having been ignored for too long, became furious. I've put up with you guys for too long. Are you pretending I don't exist? He didn't bother arguing childishly with the man, only warning, I advise you to surrender. Your 5 accomplices hiding on the roof have been subdued by my teammates, and their explosive devices are all useless. This place is surrounded by people from the Variant Association. You can't escape now. 6 Wings was so scared he panicked and screamed. But the hostages. He still wanted to find something to salvage his safety. The hostages are still with me. Hearing this, Chia found it ridiculous. Hostages. He reminded 6 wings of the emptiness behind him. Look closely. Only then did the man realize he had been pushed into a corner. Unwilling to accept this defeat, 6 wings roared, "Damn it!" A minute later, outside the deserted park as night fell, Chia quickly ran to the agreed location following the directions. Upon arriving, he immediately stopped. Chia didn't rush to look around, but called out, "Come out." From thin air, Minghwan appeared in a stream of dark purple magic. "I knew you'd definitely follow me here." He hung upside down with a sly smile on his lips. "Mr. Blue Arc," Chia questioned seriously, "what exactly is your background?" Minghwan landed safely on the ground and began to explain, "I temporarily don't have a code name, nor a real name, but I believe I'll have one soon. This is the charm of being a public figure. Whether people like you or fear you, they'll always give you all sorts of affectionate nicknames." He held up a crumpled piece of paper and said, "Not just this. Aren't you curious about what I can see?" Minghwan flipped the paper over to reveal shocking information. On an old newspaper report, 5 years ago, a tragic accident occurred where a mother was mistakenly killed by the Variant Association. The poor father repeatedly filed lawsuits against the government, but was unsuccessful. He couldn't even find out who accidentally killed his wife. Because the culprit was from Red Wing, their identity was kept strictly confidential. His gaze was fixed, and the other party didn't hesitate to call him by his real name, Mr. Gu Chia. Minghwan's exposure made Chia's eyes widen in shock. "You were 13 at the time, right? Right before your eyes, your mother, boom, was blown into a pile of minced meat." Seeing the other party fall into the psychological trap he had set, he pressed his advantage and continued, "It's a pity that a childhood lacking a mother's love is incomplete. I understand your situation better than anyone else. From that day on, you harbored resentment towards the variants who abused their power in the name of justice." Minghwan created a small magic sphere while analyzing. "This is exactly why you became a variant, to gain enough prestige in the Variant Association to be recommended by your superiors thanks to your outstanding achievements." Then he crushed the sphere and concluded, thereby gaining the right to infiltrate the internal ranks of the UN's Red Wing organization and finding the variant who casually ended your mother's life like an ant. Chia clenched his fists until they trembled, having been hit right in the sore spot. "Nonsense." Seeing the other party's attitude waver, he made an attractive offer. "I'm here to help you, Mr. Blue Arc. Let's work together. I'll help you join Red Wing, and together we'll find the variant who accidentally killed your mother." Minghwan tore the newspaper into pieces and declared, "Moreover, a magnificent revenge has been organized for you." The corners of his lips curled up as he set his condition. "As for you, you only need to do one thing for me. One very small thing." Chia immediately asked, probing, "What thing?" But Minghwan turned away, hiding his purpose. "For now, it's best to keep this a secret from you. Otherwise, it could very likely lead to a fatal disaster. In short, in the coming days, I'll be quite active in this city. So please take care of me in the future." A massive amount of magic power flared up behind him as he questioned, "Wait a minute. How do you know my identity?" He tilted his head back, answering mischievously as if teasing him, "The reason is very simple. Because I can see through the masks hiding behind everyone." Chia naturally didn't believe those words. Absurd. He gathered energy in his palms and charged forward, shouting, "Do you really think I can't catch you?" Hoping to catch the guy spouting nonsense red-handed, Chia unleashed all the electrical energy in his body and dashed forward. His fierce attack echoed like thunder, shaking the very night. Unexpectedly, it was all for naught. Minghwan had already escaped and flown into the air at some point. "Don't push yourself. The wound on your neck is very serious. Wouldn't it be better to go get treated first?" After saying that, he bid farewell and quickly disappeared from Chia's sight. "Well then, see you later, Blue Arc." A thunderstorm suddenly brewed, with lightning and thunder continuously striking down as if wanting to sow a bleak sorrow. Chia stood still, letting the cold rain drench his body. He didn't even care about his hand that was constantly bleeding. A while later, at the Gui My Old district, right under that stormy sky, heavy footsteps stomped on the floor, blending with the pattering sound outside the window. He squeezed through while raising a question. His tone seemed sympathetic, but sounded somewhat sarcastic. Our comrade Blue Arc still hasn't returned. He's clearly heavily injured, yet he still has to continue carrying out missions. It's truly not easy. Following Minghuan's words was an emotionless mechanical voice announcing the progress of Main Quest 1. Phase 2. Establish a cooperative relationship with the variant Blue Arc. Continue to expand relationships within the variant association. Incomplete. He was only slightly disappointed because the results were within his expectations. As expected, getting Gu Qie to trust me even a little seems impossible. Although he hadn't reaped the sweet fruits yet, it didn't discourage Minghuan. But that effort wasn't entirely useless. The first phase of the main storyline, discover the secret Gu Qie is hiding, is complete. 1 split point, 1 skill point, and 1 attribute point obtained. With an optimistic spirit, he let his attention drift to random thoughts. What nickname will they give me? Alien? Horn Freak? But I hope they don't give me anything too cheesy. If I had known, I would have given myself a more badass nickname right there at Li Jing Square. Amidst the dense attribute panel, it clearly introduced the character's full name, Gu Wenyu. Character type, Esper. Current nickname, None. Has gained a certain reputation in the real world, and will soon receive a unique nickname. Please wait. Minghuan caught the main point. Adding attribute points. The game interface fully displayed the benefits and features of what he cared about. Strength. Adding this attribute will improve overall physical constitution and the durability of the binding strap. Enhances neural reaction speed and the speed of the binding strap. Spirit. Adding this attribute can improve your mental strength, as well as the flexibility of the binding strap. The level of detail in the information made him marvel. It really is like an online game. The attractive perks made Minghuan weigh the pros and cons. In the martial arts of the world, only speed is unbreakable. Then I'll add points to speed. It can give me the upper hand in battle, while also preventing me from being instantly killed. Standing before the information panel provided by the system, you currently have 1 attribute point. You can choose to add it to one of 3 attributes: strength, speed, and spirit. Only the attribute he cared about, speed, increased from C to C+. Without hesitating for long, Minghuan decided, that's right, I choose speed. He quickly operated the control panel. Soon, the interface changed according to the command. Green squares appeared and linked together. Then, golden rays of light slowly flashed and converged into a single point. Finally, it formed a tree with many small branches. Each branch displayed somewhat vague content about the black binding strap. Branch 1, Hidden, Sensory Binding Strap, Learned, Truth Binding Strap, to be learned, the rest unknown. Branch 2, Frenzy, Expand Binding Strap, to be learned. Details about this skill will be available after learning the previous skill of this branch, also unknown. Branch 3, Restraint, Suppression and Probe Binding Strap, to be learned. Details about this skill will be available after learning the previous skill of this branch. Minghuan always grasped information accurately and immediately began analyzing. The truth binding strap can force someone to tell the truth. It basically acts as a lie detector. The probe binding strap refers to the ability to gather information about others' physical capabilities by touching them with the binding strap. Not only did he familiarize himself with new knowledge, but he also observed carefully. As for expand binding strap, one look and you know the frenzy branch is a skill branch used to increase combat power. Minghuan controlled the strap in his hand. His brain focused on calculating every future move. Currently, for me, the important thing isn't increasing my martial prowess, but having enough means to protect my life and track down clues. A good boy studying hard naturally gets good grades. Consumed one skill point and successfully learned the restraint branch skill, probe binding strap. When using the binding strap to touch an opponent, must be a human or humanoid creature. Their attributes and abilities will appear in your mind. The next skill in the restraint branch is now available to learn. Branch 3, Restraint, Probe Binding Strap, Learned, Suppression Binding Strap, to be learned. Suppression Binding Strap. After using the binding strap to restrain an Esper, you can temporarily disable the opponent's supernatural abilities. This time there was a lot of text, but the information was a bit vague, pulling Minghuan into endless associations. Sounds quite useful, but I'm not sure what the specific level of restraint is here. Does it mean tying up the person's entire body, or is tying a knot around their calf enough? Theory must go hand in hand with practice. The dangerous thought in his heart couldn't help but slip from his lips. There are too many possibilities. After learning this skill, I'll have to find some unlucky bastard and slowly test out all the rules of the new skill. Perhaps reading something. Minghwan lowered his gaze and observed intently. Acting on his thoughts, he touched the control panel. Create new game character. Along with the crisp sound from the system, a series of notification panels appeared. The splitting process is not yet complete, and a new game character cannot be created. Notification. To create a new game character, you need a 7/3 ratio. The required split points are the missing amount. You can only create a character in the game if you already have one split point available. Minghwan couldn't help but be stunned by the new truth he had just discovered. In that case, as long as I get 2 more split points, I can create a new game character. Once I have 2 characters, I can try making a move on the orphanage. When that time comes, even if one character encounters an accident, the other can act as support. Suddenly, a series of familiar sounds rang out, breaking the somber atmosphere here. Minghwan's face hardened slightly as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. Sure enough, the person on the other side of the door is Chia. The moment he threw the door wide open, he had already laid his head on the soft pillow. Chia narrowed his eyes like a predator watching intently, not missing a single movement of his prey. On the contrary, the image of his younger brother falling into a deep sleep successfully deceived him, forcing him to dismiss the threat. Looks like I was overthinking it. I don't know how long passed, but a mechanical voice rang out, coldly issuing an announcement. Restricted Class Esper, Subject Number 1002, Minghwan. The guide is here to visit. Hurry up and prepare for the interrogation. The uninvited guest familiarly pulled up a chair, making a loud noise. Interested in hearing about some espers that have appeared outside? Because he was standing against the light, the expression on Hanmo's face couldn't be seen clearly. Although the words coming from his mouth were warm, listening closely, they were somewhat creepy. Little brother Minghwan. He didn't expect the person he wanted to see to be fast asleep. Minghwan relied on his brilliant acting skills to continue pretending. Then he acted as if he had just woken up, yawning a few times. Guide for the evening. Hanmo wasn't a pushover either, pretending to be happy and giving a perfunctory compliment. Very good spirits. But then again, with his sharp eyes, he had seen through the other party. How do you know it's evening right now? Despite the slip of the tongue, Minghwan didn't fall into the trap the other party set. How would I know? Don't you frequently come to disturb my sleep at night? Knowing oneself and knowing the enemy, he naturally understood it would be difficult to expose him. As a result, he only sneered. Then he rummaged through his pockets, his tone lacking any remorse. Sorry. I just wanted to ask you. Hanmo decisively played his trump card. This person, although he posed it as a question, his attitude was more like he was condemning him. Is it you? Before the second character was created, the guide suddenly appeared. Would Minghwan's ability be exposed? Minghwan stared at the photo on the screen for a long time. This person is me? He pointed at the freak in the photo, his face full of disbelief. Do I look even a little bit like this ugly guy? Guide, what is this Esper's name? Hanmo calmly replied. After unanimous discussion by the outside world, they decided to temporarily call this Esper. He paused for a beat before continuing. Black Chrysalis. When I saw his photo, the first person I thought of was you. Minghwan immediately rolled his eyes. Objection. Instructor, if you want to call me ugly, just say it straight. No need to beat around the bush. I can handle this level of personal attack. Hanmo fell silent, slowly bringing up the past. Yesterday, I also mentioned when you were a kid. Back then, you wrapped yourself tightly in toilet paper, and a nurse at the orphanage even took a picture of it. He looked at him, asking in utter despair, please. I've explained this before. That was really just a mindless thing I did when I was a kid. Honestly, I still don't understand why you guys locked me up. It's been a month, and you still can't prove I'm just a normal person? Hanmo's eyes gradually turned cold, his eyelashes lowering slightly. Because. He looked straight at Minghwan and slowly opened his mouth. Someone prophesied. Hanmo paused for a few seconds before continuing. That you would destroy the world. He froze for a few seconds, then let out a helpless laugh. That person must have watched too many sci-fi movies. Is the world really that easy to destroy? Is it really that fragile? Not to mention, this guy can't even destroy himself. If I even try to hurt myself, this collar will shock me. He shrugged as if he wasn't sure himself. Who knows? Ming Huan frowned, leaning forward. Then who exactly spread this rumor about me? Can you bring him to see me, so we can confront each other face to face? Hanemo shook his head and replied, no. To be more precise, we can't do that. He blinked in confusion. Why? Is that old man out in space or something? He gently rubbed his forehead. No, we've never seen him, and we don't even know his identity. He looked out the pitch-black glass window, his voice lowering. But he has predicted many major events that had a significant impact on the world, and every single one happened exactly as he foresaw. However, even though he helped us avoid many major disasters, we've never had direct contact with him. Or rather, he never gave us the chance. Ming Huan stared silently at the floor. This is the first time I've seen the instructor this serious. He's probably not lying. So, am I really going to destroy the world? Are you kidding me? Hanemo glanced at his watch and spoke up. Oh right. In 5 minutes, Kong Yuling will come here to see you. He immediately stopped spacing out and sat up straight. Really? He stood up, casually closing the door. I'll step out for a bit. It'll just be the two of you. You can talk freely without worrying about anyone else. Ming Huan's hands clenched slightly. It's been so long since I last saw her. Right at that moment, a door of light slowly materialized in front of him. Behind the hazy glow, the silhouette of a young girl gradually appeared. She stepped out of the mysterious door, slowly walking toward him. Ming Huan's eyes instantly lit up, as if reflecting the stars. Old memories suddenly flooded his mind. The first time I met her was 3 years ago. The image of the orphanage from that year gradually appeared before his eyes. The nurses told me a new kid had arrived at the orphanage. I heard the kid was mixed race, terrifyingly pale, deaf, and mute. Ming Huan lowered his eyes, recalling those early days. Because of her, the nurses made all the kids learn sign language first. Some kids couldn't sit still and blamed her for it. So, right from the start, nobody liked her. She always liked wearing a wrinkled white linen dress and carrying a sketchbook with a pencil clipped inside. Everyone thought she was a freak. After getting to know her for a while, I gradually understood her. Later, I found out she did that so others wouldn't have to learn sign language for her, and so she wouldn't be a burden to everyone. She was a very obedient kid who hated bothering others. In his memories, young Ming Huan stood protectively in front of Yuling, his eyes full of stubbornness. But I was different. The corners of his lips curled up as he remembered his past self. I was crazy. I wasn't afraid of getting into trouble, and I loved grabbing her hand and running everywhere. Ming Huan's eyes gradually softened. Simply because I felt like I was just like her. Someone others considered a freak. The memories continued to flow. Until one day, on the roof, a childish voice rang out. The last time I saw my parents. They locked me in the closet and told me to wait for them there. They said not to make a sound and that they'd be back soon. He looked up at the sky, letting out a self-deprecating laugh. I was so naive when I was a kid. I actually believed what they said. Later, even after being sent to the orphanage, I would still stupidly lock myself up, thinking that if I did that, maybe they would come back for me. Ming Huan's eyes gradually darkened. But they didn't. Not even once. And then later, he lowered his head, his voice slowing down. Later, I grew up and didn't need them to come looking for me anymore. But you're different. I want you by my side. With you. I don't have to pretend or play along. So I want to be with you forever. Yuling subconsciously looked up at Ming Huan. From those pale eyes, a single tear silently fell. She tremblingly reached her hand out toward him, as if gathering all her courage. Ming Huan still remembered that moment vividly. She suddenly asked me. Yuling looked down, wrote a few words on a small piece of paper, and slowly handed it to him. Can I rely on you? His eyes wavered slightly. That was the first time I experienced the feeling of being needed by someone else. The corners of Ming Huan's lips subconsciously curled into a gentle smile. He said softly, I will definitely protect you, Kong Yuling. Because I promised you. You can rely on me. Kong Yuling, will you abandon me like my parents did? Yuling looked at him silently for a long time. Then she picked up her pen and wrote, I will absolutely never abandon you. Ming Huan looked at the girl in front of him with an excited face. Kong Yuling, it really is you. He almost laughed through his choked-up voice. This is great. You're okay. It's so good that you're okay. She smiled gently at Ming Huan, her eyes softer than ever. Ming Huan had just opened his mouth to say something when the collar around his neck suddenly lit up. But at that exact moment, the electric collar around his neck suddenly flashed with a cold blue light. A violent electric shock surged through his body, causing Ming Huan to collapse to the floor in agony. The reunion after years of separation hadn't even brought joy before disaster struck. Two childhood friends reunited, but Ming Huan suddenly collapsed in pain. Was this an accident or a deliberate plot? A mechanical warning voice rang out. Physical contact is strictly prohibited. If there is a second occurrence, you will be electrocuted. Seeing him lying on the ground in pain, Yuling could only shed tears of helplessness. Ming Huan tried to calm down and raised a hand to comfort her. Don't worry. The electricity won't kill me. Before, when I was jumping around, I got shocked a few times here, so I'm used to it. He tried to distract her. Oh right, did they ask you to do anything? Like asking about me before letting you see me? Yuling couldn't speak, so she could only write in her notebook. They told me to ask you, what is your superpower? Ming Huan felt a pang of sympathy. This silly girl. She'll definitely be punished for doing this. The instructors wouldn't allow her to ask about my powers so bluntly. Even if you ask me that, I don't know. After all, you can't have something that doesn't exist. This is the first time I've lied to you. I'm sorry. If I reveal my power, neither of us will ever make it out of here alive. Yuling immediately replied, I know. She paused for a moment, her eyes full of sadness. Yuling wrote something else in her notebook. I miss you so much. After reading it, Ming Huan smiled affectionately. Just as he was about to respond, the announcement from outside rang out again. Visiting time is over. Take her away. Hanemo stood outside and reminded him before leaving. If you behave well, we can meet again later. So, now that you've seen her, do you believe me? We really didn't hurt her. Ming Huan didn't hold back his sarcasm. You guys really have the hearts of saints. Locking an 11-year-old girl in here, and then taking pride in not hurting her. Your moral baseline is truly quite flexible. Hanemo sat down on the chair and continued. Actually, if you didn't mention it, I'd often forget you're only 12. I get the feeling you're always pretending. How could a normal 12-year-old boy think so much? Ming Huan ignored his words. Right? Can I ask you a question? He agreed. Ask away. Ming Huan sat down on the mattress, looking up at the glass panel. If you guys already know I'm going to destroy the world, why not just kill me? Even if I really have that power, what if it gets out of control and destroys the lab? Won't you regret it? Hanemo gave a strange smile and asked back, do you want to hear the truth? Ming Huan was still determined to know the hidden truth. Tell me. Hanemo didn't hide his true purpose. When an Esper is near death, they can unleash potential far beyond their own strength. Not killing you is precisely for this reason. No one knows what would happen if we attacked you. Therefore, we can't kill you. We can only try to control you. Hearing this, Ming Huan comfortably lay down on the mattress and laughed. Well, that's just great. Knowing I won't be secretly executed by you guys, I can finally sleep peacefully tonight. Hanemo was speechless and could only give a faint smile. He didn't say anything else, turning around to leave. Our conversation ends here. Get some rest. Ming Huan lay there, and the moment the man left, he immediately woke up. He moved something, and a soft sound echoed. The next second, in the Dragon Kingdom, Lijing, in my old street. The system notification rang out. Welcome back. Your consciousness has been transferred into the game's main character, Gu Wenyu. Because your reputation has increased, your in-game character title has been updated. Your current title is Black Pupa. Black Pupa. Standing on the roof, Ming Huan found it somewhat amusing. It hasn't even been half a day, and they've already given me a nickname. Interesting. Take it one step at a time. The immediate goal is to find the exact location of that lab. Then, I'll try to get my real body and Kong Yuling out of there without making a sound. Finally, if it really doesn't work out, then the image of Yuling's pure smile appeared in his mind again. He made up his mind. I'll wipe them all out. Suddenly, a noise came from behind the door. The doorknob was pulled down and pushed inward. Ming Huan immediately noticed something was wrong. Someone's back. The door opened, and a girl walked into the room, holding a baseball bat in her hand. By this time, Ming-Huan had already jumped onto the bed and covered himself completely with the blanket. He covered his whole body, leaving only his eyes exposed to observe the situation. Good thing I reacted fast enough. I probably won't be discovered. The person took step after step into the room. Suzumai walked up to the bed, raising the bat high. Suzumai. At the same time, the system issued a notification. Main Quest 3. Investigate what your sister, Suzumai, is hiding. As soon as Ming-Huan poked his head out, he saw his sister about to hit him with a bat. He instantly froze, his red pupils filled with terror. Ming-Huan panicked, jumping up and waving his hands. Wait, what are you doing? Zimo frowned in annoyance. She immediately fired off a barrage of complaints. So you finally decided to wake up? You're so damn lazy. Sleeping until 3 p.m.? Are you a pig? Ming-Huan stared blankly at the blue-haired girl in front of him. Suzimo. According to his memories, she was currently 16 and a freshman in high school. Gu Wenyu was 17 and a sophomore, soon to be a junior in the new semester. Their older brother was 19 and a college freshman. But among the three of them, Gu Wenyu, the body he was currently controlling, looked the youngest, probably because of his sleep-deprived eyes and sickly appearance. Furthermore, the younger sister took the surname Su instead of Gu because their parents had agreed that the sons would take their father's surname, while the daughter would take their mother's. Zimo huffed, crossing her arms and turning to leave the room. Whatever. I'm not wasting my breath on you. The current situation left Ming-Huan completely bewildered. What the hell is going on? He walked down to the living room, where the TV was broadcasting the news. The anchor's voice sounded incredibly serious. This is an excerpt from the Lijiang Daily News. Last night at 12:20 a.m., an unidentified Esper appeared at the city center plaza and intervened in the Six Wings hostage situation. The Esper used black tethers to eliminate 5 robbers and successfully rescued 5 hostages without causing any civilian casualties. According to eyewitnesses, this Esper was tightly bound in black tethers, looking much like a chrysalis, hanging upside down beneath a billboard. The Esper Association has locked down the scene and is currently collecting samples and analyzing the residual substances. Next, the vice president of the Esper Association's Lijiang branch will brief us on some related matters. Following an emergency meeting by the Esper Association's expert panel, based on the characteristics of the ability and appearance, the individual has been officially codenamed Black Chrysalis and temporarily placed under Class B surveillance. Ming-Huan rummaged through the fridge while thoughtfully absorbing the information. Class B? So there's a ranking system among Espers too. Before Guchia gets home, I'll use the probe tether to see what kind of abilities Suzimo has. Who knows, I might be able to complete the main quest right away. Ming-Huan quickly opened the system panel. Probe tether learned. When you use the probe ability to touch a target, who must be human, a series of their data, attributes, and abilities will appear in your mind. A wisp of dark energy slipped out from the back of his collar, slowly approaching Zimo, who was completely engrossed in her game. It then stealthily slipped into her body. For a split second, Zimo flinched. Ming-Huan's heart pounded with nervous tension. But contrary to his expectations, she merely turned and shot him a glare. Ming-Huan stammered, holding out a can. Want a Coke? Zimo pouted, eyeing her brother warily. What was that sudden sense of danger? Was it just my imagination? While she was cautiously sizing up Ming-Huan, he was also carefully analyzing his younger sister. Main Quest 3 still isn't complete. Is it because I haven't seen her use her superhuman powers with my own eyes? Or is it because I'm still not sure about her specific identity among the demon hunters? But wait. I remember the system mentioning the world's 3 major superhuman races during character creation. At the time, I only saw 2, Espers and Anomaly Envoys. So it seems the final piece of the puzzle has fallen into place. The last superhuman race is the demon hunters. Just then, a familiar, cheerful voice drifted in from the door. You're both here? That's rare. Perfect timing. I'll cook dinner tonight. A handsome young man walked in, carrying bags of groceries, and reminded them. Make sure you guys wait until after dinner to go out and play. Ming-Huan narrowed his eyes, assessing him. Blue aberrant, Guchia. He was clearly heavily injured last night, but now he looks like nothing ever happened. Espers usually heal very quickly. Of course, It could also be due to the excellent medical support from the Esper Association. Zemo suddenly remembered something and interrupted. "Oh right, Dad said he's coming back tonight." Chia's back stiffened for a moment. He turned his head, his tone unreadable. "If he wants to come, let him." Zemo anxiously hugged her stuffed crow and whispered to Ming Huan, "Do you think Chia and Dad will fight again tonight? Even though they haven't seen each other in 2 years. He nonchalantly tapped on his phone. Who knows? Ming Huan's attention was now entirely captivated by the information about the Esper Association on his screen. The UN has classified Espers into multiple tiers, from the highest threat level to the lowest. Sequence T0 starts with the restricted class, down to Sequence T1, disaster class. Next is Sequence T2, dragon class. Sequence T3, ash class. Sequence T4, standard class. And finally, Sequence T5, harmless class. Sequence T5, harmless class. At this level, Espers pose no threat. Their personal freedom is not restricted by the government, and they can work just like normal people. Sequence T4, standard class. Espers stronger than the harmless class, but their overall abilities are relatively mediocre. Sequence T3, ash class. The elites among Espers. Sequence T2, dragon class. This tier represents the backbone of the Esper Association. Sequence T1, disaster class. The benchmark for this tier, Red Wings members. Only those who reach the disaster class in the association's ability assessment are eligible to be shortlisted as Red Wings candidates. Sequence T0, restricted class. According to the Esper Association's records, only one restricted class Esper has ever appeared in history. This restricted class Esper has been confirmed dead. Their information is highly classified and will not be disclosed. Ming Huan tilted his head back, dazed. There's only been one restricted level Esper in history, and that person is already dead. Could they be talking about me? My life in that lab was pretty much a living death anyway. If the restricted level Esper introduced on the official website is really me, then the people in that lab must actually be from the Esper Association. He rested his chin on his hand, pondering. If that's true, then if I go to war with the researchers at that lab, wouldn't that be equivalent to declaring war on the United Nations? When that time comes, the disaster-level Espers from Hongyi will definitely come to stop me. A sudden idea flashed through Ming Huan's mind. What if I find a way to recruit this family as my helpers? If I effectively use this fake family member identity, luring them out won't be hard. Besides, because of their mother's death, they already harbor deep hostility toward Hongyi. This will make it even easier to form a united front with them. If I can get their help when the time comes, it would be a formidable strategy. While Ming Huan was busy drowning in his calculations, Gu Chie's voice pulled him back to reality. Right, Xiaoyu. He slightly lifted the meat cleaver, his whole body radiating a sky-high murderous aura. You were at home the whole time last night, right? Su Zimo also turned her attention to Ming Huan. She questioned him with a deadly serious expression. Now that you mention it, I also feel like you've been acting really weird today. Having his weak spot poked, he felt guilty and didn't know how to retort. While Ming Huan was investigating, the brother and sister suddenly started suspecting him. A guilty conscience really does make one jumpy. Ming Huan felt cold sweat starting to form on the back of his neck. He kept groaning inwardly. What the hell is this? They aren't actually suspecting me, are they? Despite this, he tried to keep a calm facade on the outside and stubbornly replied, I went to sleep right after dinner last night. Hearing this, Gu Chie turned back to continue cooking. His tone seemed casual, but he was actually secretly probing. Did you hear any strange noises in the middle of the night? Ming Huan perfectly played the role of a caring family member. No, why? Did we get robbed last night? These words reminded Gu Chie of some unpleasant things. His eyes flashed with thought, but ultimately he didn't bring it up. No, nothing like that. Never mind, just pretend I didn't say anything. Before he could even pass the first hurdle, the next one arrived. Su Zimo pressed in right behind her brother. The pressure made Ming Huan so guilty that he even started stuttering. What are you staring at me for? She bluntly stated her suspicions. You've been talking a lot more lately. Usually, you barely say a word. And you're always holed up in your room. Who knows what you're doing? Ming Huan had no experience answering these kinds of questions, so he could only foolishly blurt out, I'm leaving then. Unsurprisingly, this angered Su Zimo. She retreated to the corner of the sofa and grumbled, "What a pig. You fell asleep the moment your head hit the pillow last night and slept all the way until this afternoon." Regarding this change in his younger brother, Guchie had a completely opposite opinion. Talking more is a good thing. Don't follow our dad's example and neglect the family. He continued the work in his hands, his tone as calm as if he were telling someone else's story. Just remember how Mom used to treat us back in the day and how wonderful the family atmosphere was back then. Ming Huan grew more and more exhausted. He gripped his coke can tightly and muttered to himself, "Forget it. It's better if I just talk less. Otherwise, I'll end up exposing everything myself. I really don't understand how family members are supposed to get along." Even though during my years at Yangfili Orphanage, I considered Kong Yuling as family in my heart, our relationship was more like close friends than family. Right at that moment, a steady knocking sound echoed from the front door. Su Zimo immediately stood up to check, calling out loudly as she walked toward the door, "Coming, coming." But the moment the door opened, she suddenly froze in place, seemingly very surprised by the newcomer. The room instantly fell dead silent. A heavy stillness dragged on for several seconds. Finally, Su Zimo snapped out of it and turned back into the house, leaving a wide path for the tall, dark figure behind her, while announcing, "Brother, Dad is back." This title, both foreign and familiar, brought two different kinds of emotions to the house. On one side was a thick silence, while the other cast probing glances at the newly arrived figure. In Ming Huan's line of sight was a pair of narrow eyes devoid of any emotion, holding only a pure, unfamiliar coldness. Soon, the light in the house fully illuminated the figure, allowing him to clearly see a middle-aged man with a full beard and cloudy, deep-set eyes. At the same time, the system interface popped up. Main Quest 2. Investigate what your father, Gu Zan, is hiding. Thanks to that information, Ming Huan became even more certain of the man's identity. "This guy is my dad." He stood quietly in the back, silently muttering the man's full name in his mind. "Gu Zan." Ming Huan subtly reached out his hand, releasing a pitch-black thread of magical energy, while his brain's CPU ran at full capacity. Su Zimo and Guchie both awkwardly lowered their heads and resumed their tasks, no longer paying attention to this side. This is an opportunity. The stream of magical energy silently slithered through the air like a venomous snake, slowly approaching the prey's back. However, Gu Zan was clearly not someone easy to deal with. The moment the magical energy got close enough, his pupils instantly contracted. An intense sense of danger suddenly surged up, exactly like being targeted by a giant python opening its jaws, ready to swallow him whole. Gu Zan immediately spun around and launched a backward strike. His arm swung out so fast it left an afterimage, accurately catching Ming Huan's raised wrist. Ming Huan didn't even have time to react, only managing to blurt out, "Oh crap." He gritted his teeth and groaned inwardly. Crap, ginger really does get spicier with age. Gu Zhuan is much more vigilant than Su Zimai. However, his action actually helped Ming Huan. The system immediately notified, completion condition met, touched the target's body. Passive skill seatbelt probe activated. Before he knew it, Chia had approached. He angrily grabbed Zhuan's shoulder. "Dad, what is the meaning of this?" Ming Huan started acting, putting on the innocent face of an expert with countless sins, and stammered an explanation. "Dad, I just wanted to help dust off your shoulder." His innocent face and childish voice successfully calmed Zhuan down. He relaxed his tightly clenched fist and gently comforted his son. "I'm sorry, Wenyu." At this moment, a wave of regret flooded his mind like the tide. "For the past 2 years, I've been living in a state of extreme tension, so my exhausted nervous system has become too sensitive. Just a light pat on the shoulder from my son made me overreact." Even so, Zhuan still didn't doubt his intuition from earlier. But what exactly was that strange feeling I just experienced? Even now, the chill down his spine hadn't completely faded. It felt as if a snake suddenly flew out of the jungle and climbed onto my shoulder. Its emerald eyes sparkling in the dark, piercing through every corner of my heart. As for Ming Huan, what just happened was a blessing in disguise. Good news poured in one after another. Main Quest 2 completed. Investigate what your father, Gu Zhuan, is hiding. Rewards received from Main Quest 2. 1 Schism Point, 1 skill point, 1 attribute point. He silently thanked the heavens. Thank God. I almost failed, but I achieved my goal. Suddenly, the system chimed again with more information, leaving Ming Huan slightly surprised. Main Quest 2 updated. Cooperate with the supervillain Ghost Clock and expand your network in the evil Esper community. Immediately after, a masked figure appeared in his mind. Ghost Clock. The supercriminal Ghost Clock? At this moment, that tall silhouette perfectly matched the middle-aged man who had just appeared. So Gu Zhuan is Ghost Clock. Suddenly, Ming Huan recalled some vague memories. I've seen the supercriminal Ghost Clock before. He quickly read Zhuan's detailed profile, especially the description of his power. Creates a 3-meter-tall clock tower and raises his own shadow from the ground. The shadow inherits 3 attributes from the main body, essentially creating a clone. The shadow cannot stray too far from the main body. Every 30 seconds, the clock tower's hour hand randomly points to one of 12 hour slots. At different hour slots, the clock tower grants the shadow different powers. Rumors about Ghost Clock had spread everywhere for a long time. Over the past 2 years, he has only harmed Espers who abused their powers and has never targeted ordinary civilians. The association's attempts to capture him have all failed. Moreover, he usually leaves behind only one sentence. You guys are useless. Send someone from Hongyi to find me. The veil of secrecy was gradually lifting. Ming Huan couldn't help but swallow hard as he continued to think. No wonder Ghost Clock insisted that the Esper Association send a member of Hongyi to arrest him. No wonder Gu Zhuan hasn't been home for 2 years. Gu Zhuan's plan is to use himself as bait to lure out the Hongyi member who killed his wife, and then tear him to pieces with his own hands. Because Zhuan hid his plan so well, it created an ironic situation. Gu Qiye's actions are the exact opposite of Gu Zhuan's. To find the Hongyi member who accidentally killed his mother, Gu Qiye chose to join the Esper Association, become a powerful Esper, and get recommended into Hongyi by the association, so he could openly track down his enemy. Ming Huan couldn't help but sigh at this family's dire situation. Even though they are father and son, they made completely opposite choices for the exact same goal. By a twist of fate, they even stand on opposing sides. They wear masks and, like beasts locked in a Roman Colosseum, turn to slaughter each other. At this moment, Qiye was gradually losing his temper, the blue veins on his forehead throbbing continuously. Don't bring your bad habits home. You disappeared for 2 years and came back looking like this. How do you expect us to believe you? The more he spoke, the more he lost control, his hands clenching so tightly they trembled. I thought you had changed, but you're still the same. You haven't changed at all since Mom died. Your mind is entirely focused on the dead, never thinking about the pain your own children are going through. Have you ever thought that your kids were also heavily traumatized by their mother's death? Just like you. Zamai was being protected behind her older brother, but her mood was also gradually breaking down with every truth Qiye revealed. To make you feel better, every child hid their feelings. But you ignored us and treated us like air. Do you know how many times Xiaomai cried after you left without a word? And how many times she told me she wanted you to come back? Zhuan silently accepted the criticism from his eldest son. I shouldn't have told her you were coming back. Perhaps Qiye himself felt that whatever he said now wouldn't change anything. He left one last sentence and turned to walk away. Someone like you should spend your whole life hugging a dead person's coffin. After all, your living relatives don't matter to you. The dead ones are what's important. Only then did Zhuan slowly speak up. What about you? His voice was hoarse, carrying an indescribable emotion, both confused and deeply hurt. Have you forgotten your own mother? Those words struck the deepest wound in Qiye's heart. His pupils glowed blood red, his killing intent almost impossible to conceal. He lunged forward, grabbed Zhuan tightly by the collar, and lifted him up, his roar echoing through the house. Shut up. His volume was so high it was almost piercing, ringing straight into their ears, making Zamai subconsciously hug herself, her face turning pale. Do you know how much I've done? Qiye completely lost control, his breathing chaotic like a cornered beast. Do you know? Even an outsider like Ming Huan couldn't stand it anymore. He used a volume even louder than Qiye's to shout, "Enough!" He didn't expect it to successfully make the other pause. Qiye gritted his teeth and snapped his head toward him. Zhuan also shifted his gaze. Deep within those emerald eyes lay profound sorrow and tragedy. Ming-Huan braced himself, biting his lip tightly as he met those two oppressive stares. As soon as father and son met, they fell into a tense standoff. When swords were about to be drawn, Gu Wenyu shouted, "Can he withstand the wrath of these two?" Ming-Huan glared and yelled in an annoyed tone, "That's enough." He directed everyone's attention to the wide-open door and reminded them, "Our sister ran away from home." Saying that, Ming-Huan pressed his lips together, observing their reactions. Before anyone could say another word, he immediately took the task upon himself. "I'll go find her and bring her back." The night had long enveloped the city, and all the high-rises were brightly lit. After taking a breath of the outside air, Ming-Huan put his hands on his hips and grumbled inwardly. What kind of melodramatic family soap opera is this? I really can't stand it. He decided to take advantage of being alone to pull out his phone. Perfect timing. I'll use this moment to proceed with the next step of the plan. The scene suddenly shifted to a seemingly ordinary house lying silent in the night. The owner of the house was still awake, so he read the anonymous text message as soon as it arrived. "Well, do you still not believe what I said? Don't you have any doubts about your father?" Chia skimmed it extremely fast, then pressed his lips together, showing no emotion. 5 minutes later, he finally typed out a 2-word reply. "Who's this?" In a split second, the anonymous sender changed their name to Black Pupa and replied, "If that's the case, I'll use this name to contact you. That way, it'll leave a deeper impression on you." Ming-Huan's imposing figure immediately appeared in Chia's mind, and he subconsciously repeated the name in his head. Black Pupa. In the convenience store, Ming-Huan leisurely read Chia's response. "Aren't you worried I'll let someone trace your email address?" This naive thought made him click his tongue and say to himself, "Is that necessary? You just end up finding your own home address anyway." Chia seemed mostly reassured, so he got straight to the point. "But you're right, my dad is acting a bit weird. What is he hiding from me?" This reaction was within Ming-Huan's expectations, so he casually played along. "Maybe when our cooperation goes a step further, I'll tell you." On the other side, Chia bit his lip, trying to salvage more information. "One last question." Ming-Huan immediately and cheerfully urged, "Ask away." Despite some hesitation, Chia couldn't help but type out the words. "Are you my dad?" Ming-Huan, who was holding a mouthful of water, had just processed the question and instantly spat it all out. In his mind, he really wanted to tear the guy into 5 pieces. "I treat you like a good older brother, and you think I'm your dad?" Seeing him deny it so quickly, Chia felt a belated twinge of suspicion. "Then what do you want from me?" The overly direct question successfully stumped Ming-Huan for a moment. His face was now filled with deep calculation. After figuring out his angle, he started typing furiously like a waterfall. "Secret. I just want you to know that if I wanted to be your enemy, I would have done so a long time ago. If I just revealed your identity, your younger brother and sister would become your biggest weaknesses. But I didn't do that." Ming-Huan finished his can of water and tossed it into the trash just as Chia's message arrived. "That's true. Although I don't completely trust you yet, from a standpoint of mutual benefit, I can temporarily cooperate with you." Just that was enough to make system notifications pop up wildly. Main Quest 1, Phase 2 completed. Establish a cooperative relationship with the Blue Esper Group, then expand your network within the Esper Association. You have received the following quest rewards: 1 schism point, 1 skill point, and 1 attribute point. Ming-Huan excitedly cheered, "Success." As soon as he spoke, the system issued a new bulletin. Main Quest 1 updated. Complete your first cooperation with Blue and further solidify trust. You have collected 3 schism points. Unlocking the in-game character creation option to begin the character creation process and create your second game character in the real world. Being so focused, Ming-Huan didn't realize Zamai had arrived. "Since when?" She leaned toward him, expressing her curiosity. "What success?" Ming-Huan jumped in fright, backing away, and vehemently denied it. "And nothing. Oh right, Dad and your brother told me to come find you. Let's go back." This sneaky behavior made Zamai frown in dissatisfaction. As they walked side by side on the street, she probed him. "You've changed so much. I've never seen you like this before." "Whatever. You go back. I don't want to go home." Zamai plopped down on a swing and announced, "I'm going to a friend's house later. She's coming to pick me up soon." Hearing this, Ming Huan's gossip radar instantly activated. Sister, could she be your girlfriend? Zamai flew into a rage out of embarrassment and yelled, "Get lost. My sexual orientation is normal, even though some girls have confessed their feelings to me." Ming Huan was too focused on interrogating her to notice an arm approaching him. Who was that girl? Kuchirue leaned close to his ear like a ghost and answered for her. I'm her teacher. Seeing Ming Huan scared half to death, she playfully changed her tone. Oh my, sorry for scaring you. Zamai, her face expressionless, calmly introduced them to each other. This is my teacher. This is my brother. Don't treat him like an outsider. Outwardly, Ming Huan greeted Kuchirue with a hello, but inwardly, he couldn't help but feel a wave of panic. A teacher specializing in exorcism. As if reading his mind, she showed off her strength while reaching out her hand. Hello, my name is Kuchirue. I'm Suzumai's friend. I often hear her mention you. Ming Huan shook her hand and replied calmly. My name is Gu Wenyu. In a flash, the system notification popped up. Target body contact condition met. Passive skills seatbelt probe and seatbelt sense activated. He quickly skimmed through Chirue's information, feeling even more confused the more he read. Even though I still don't know what Tianxiu is, based on the data, this person has upper mid-tier combat power among exorcists. No wonder Su Zimai calls her teacher. Details. The faces of the two men at home flashed in Ming Huan's mind, and he secretly clicked his tongue. Still not as strong as the two domineering men in our family. Seeing him space out for so long, Chirue pursed her lips in suspicion. Before she could probe further, Ming Huan turned away and tossed back a sentence. Then my little sister is all yours. I still need to go home and take a shower. I have plans to play games with my friends tonight. I'll get going first. You two chat. Chirue smiled broadly and promised, I'll take good care of her. Just let me know if you need anything. Everyone was happy except Zamai, who blew up. What do you mean yours? On the way back, Ming Huan took the time to review each notification. Main Quest 1, Phase 3. Complete your first cooperation with the Blue Esper to solidify trust. Main Quest 2, Phase 2. Establish a cooperative relationship with the supervillain Ghost Clock and further develop your relationship with evil Espers. Main Quest 3. Investigate what your sister, Suzumai, is hiding. Main Quest 4. Investigate what Li Qingping is hiding. He rubbed his chin, calculating rapidly in his head. So, it seems I've completed the first phase of the first two quests, but failed the quest to investigate my sister's identity. Thinking about it, Ming Huan secretly strengthened his resolve. It's because I found out Gu Qie is blue and Gu Zhuan is Ghost Clock for the first time, but I didn't know my sister's specific identity from an exorcist's perspective, so it didn't work. Looks like I'll have to spend some time keeping an eye on her from now on. While Ming Huan had his own plans, Chirue was also deep in thought. Just now, when I shook hands with that kid, I got a weird feeling. What was it? Seeing her teacher staring intently at her brother, Zamai quickly asked, What's wrong, Captain? Chirue didn't hesitate to spell it out. Your brother seems a bit off. Hearing this, Zamai's eyes widened and her jaw dropped, as if she'd just heard she won the lottery. Chirue didn't look at her, muttering to herself. What exactly is going on? She unflinchingly released her power with a single goal. I'll know once I test him. The woman Su Zamai called Captain had begun to suspect Gu Wenyu's true nature. Could Ming Huan escape the danger? The movie demon riding on the train demon, the two noisy creatures charged straight at Ming Huan under Chirue's command. She didn't hesitate to wave her hand and shout. Zamai, standing beside her, couldn't suppress her curiosity. All right, Captain. What's so off about him? Could it be? Captain, do you have your eye on my brother? Chirue was baffled by her train of thought and immediately asked back, Why would you think that? Even though she already had a suspicion in her mind. Judging from Xiaomai's reaction, she seems to know her brother is an Esper. Since she had Zamai's reaction as a reference, Chirue switched to another plan in her head. Forget it. I don't need to meddle in too many things. She casually lit a cigarette and urged, Let's not talk about this anymore. Pack your things. If you don't want to go home, then don't. Just stay with me during the break. Zamai caught a whiff of the smoke and yelled in frustration. You smoked, demon. My brother just left, and you instantly stopped pretending. Chirue, acting like a walking incense burner, calmly retorted, I can't let people know you're spending your summer vacation with a smoke demon, right? After that, the two bickered back and forth on the way home. Mai started it. I don't care about them anymore. By the way, should we have the train demon take us to Tokyo tonight? Chirue blurted out, yeah. I have some business to discuss with the Japanese Exorcist Association tomorrow. The girl excitedly suggested. Then I want to eat shrimp tempura. I still haven't had dinner. They're already arguing. Chirue agreed without hesitation. Sure. Whatever Xiaomai wants to eat, my treat. On the other side, Minghuan was sitting on his bed checking his character attributes. The system promptly asked if he wanted to allocate the 3 attribute points to Black Pupa. Minghuan didn't hesitate to dump them all into strength. Under the light reflecting from the screen, he casually commanded, switch to the character skill tree panel. A series of branches distinguishing the seatbelts appeared simultaneously like a maze. Ultimately, Minghuan still needed to learn the mantra seatbelt. As he reached toward it, he calculated in his head. Currently, the only known way to get schism points is by completing the main storyline. When I create a second character, won't the first character die? Then I wouldn't be able to get schism points anymore. This way, even if the first character dies, I can still use the second character to continue creating more characters. In an instant, the system issued a notification. You have consumed 1 skill point. Successfully learned the hidden branch skill, mantra seatbelt. After binding an opponent with the belt, you can force them to speak what is on their mind. Permission to learn the next skill in the hidden branch has been unlocked. Minghuan looked at his hand, satisfied, and immediately made a plan. Then, in a few days, I can go settle the score with the orphanage director. The instructors kidnapped me from the orphanage without me even knowing. This proves the people at the orphanage must have played a major role in this. Minghuan clenched his fist, crushing his magical energy, and whispered softly, Old director, you can start praying to God now. Pray that you can give me a satisfactory answer. Right at that moment, the system notification pulled him back to reality. There is still 1 skill point unused. Do you want to continue developing the skill tree? Chameleon Seatbelt turns your seatbelt invisible. After wrapping yourself in the belt, you will enter an invisible state. If you encounter a creature with superior attributes in all aspects, getting within a certain distance will likely result in you being discovered. Having good stuff, but not being able to use it much made Minghuan sigh in annoyance and mutter, that's pretty good. Suitable for situations that require tracking. However, I can't add too much to this hidden skill. It'll be a bit unbalanced. But for now, this is the only way to develop it. The combat branch skills are almost useless. If I meet a strong enemy, I can't beat them. If I meet a weak enemy, I can't take them down. Even so, he decided to go all in. The system happily poured out a string of instructions. Consumed 1 skill point. Successfully learned the hidden skill Chameleon Seatbelt. The next skill in the hidden branch is now available to learn. Seatbelt Trap places a trap made of binding belts on the spot. When an enemy steps into the trap area, their feet will instantly be tied and entangled by the belts. The binding traps activated by this skill will inherit the effects of skills like Sense Seatbelt and Probe Seatbelt. Minghuan reached toward the screen, sighing with emotion. This description sounds vicious. I really want it. But unfortunately, I've used up all my skill points. The system replied very considerately. This character's specialized cultivation system is called the Social Media Superstar System. Core rule of the Social Media Superstar System. You will receive rewards through the specialized cultivation system whenever you establish a cooperative relationship with more superhuman individuals. Current progress. Cultivation Quest 1. Establish a friendly cooperative relationship with 1 Esper, regardless of whether they belong to the good or evil faction. Reward, 1 attribute point. Completed. Cultivation Quest 2. Establish a cooperative relationship with a total of 3 superhumans. Current progress, 1/3. Superhumans you have established a cooperative relationship with, Blue Esper. Reading through that dense block of text made Minghuan rub his chin in thought. It's almost time. The instructor should be coming to find me soon. I hope the instructor won't disappoint me and will provide more useful information. The system, waiting for just this moment, immediately urged. Absolute Schism mode has been activated. After a 1-hour download, your consciousness will control the game character's body 24/7 without needing to enter a dream. Currently, The number of game character perspectives being downloaded is 1. Limit level Esper ID 1002, Minghuan. The instructor is coming to visit. Quickly prepare well for the interrogation. The scene quickly shifted to a dimly lit space. Hanmo's voice echoed everywhere. We plan to let you meet the other children. Minghuan immediately asked suspiciously, Other children? He unscrewed the cap of his thermos and casually shared. The other children being held here. You guys will probably become good friends. Minghuan twitched his lips and suggested, Why? Aren't you afraid we'll team up and plan a prison break or something? Hanmo confidently curled his lips, replying leisurely, There's nothing to worry about. We know the situation of every child here very well. Except for you. Minghuan lay back on the bed, bored, and complained at length. I don't even understand myself, let alone you guys. Speaking of which, didn't you promise yesterday to tell me about the other 2 superhuman species? Hanmo confirmed without any suspicion. Yes. That's why I'm here today, to introduce these 2 factions to you. Our people are starting to suspect that you're not an Esper, but an anomaly envoy or an exorcist. While Minghuan was still stunned by the man's sharpness, the screen flashed right in front of him. Crucial intelligence system unlocked. The more information you learn about the superhuman worldview, the more likely you are to encounter game characters with stronger initial stats and greater potential. Following that was a progress bar for a series of characters. Minghuan calculated rapidly in his head. Looking at this, it seems not directly creating a character was the right decision. Otherwise, I would have missed out on a lot. After gathering enough information from the instructor, who knows, I might be able to create a game character, maybe even find 1 or 2 exceptionally rare character profiles. Right at that moment, Hanmo's voice pulled him back to reality. Which one do you want me to talk about first? Minghuan slightly parted his lips, mouthing the word, I. Before he could finish his sentence, his entire body swayed violently as the space shook. Minghuan's pupils shrank as his mind spun with questions. What the hell is going on? My head suddenly hurts like crazy. It feels like a nail is being driven into my skull, punching a hole in it. Moreover, my brain is even trembling. Minghuan, who was about to gather information, suddenly felt a severe headache. Was this caused by the instructor?